The '09 Solutions team came back within an hour and had made all of those changes in the system, and I didn't need to sell my team anymore on the solution.
I have the pleasure of introducing our panel today. Catherine McClay, Senior Vice President of Flow at Walmart. Jeff Wilkins leads Customer Business Development for the U.S. Auto Dealer Channel of Bridgestone America's Tire Operations. Doug Gray currently works in Global Logistics Department at Caterpillar. Sanjeev Sidhu, the co-founder and chairman of '09 Solutions.
Continuous value leakage analysis, where you can look back at last year, last quarter, last month, last week, and say, what were the points of value leakage? And the right answer being, and this is what integrated business planning means, everyone in the company explains the same root cause. Now, whenever we talk about process design, people say, oh, before digitizing, I need to do a process design, and that's going to take me 6 months. Well, that's so yesterday. That's what you did yesterday on a PowerPoint. Today, you don't need to do that. The digital tool should be your prototyping tool. And that's exactly what we did at each of these panelists. We built a prototype of the new process first. And we first did that at Bridgestone, where we looked at the value leakage, and in 2 months, we were able to get a prototype up and running. So what does the digital twin have? It has not just all the data available, but it has all the knowledge. And the key word, as I've been using before, is the knowledge. The knowledge representation of how to stop the value leakage is really key. You need to be able to do scenarios, what-if analysis, or be able to bring information and knowledge that the digital twin still does not have.
You know, the week, I always tell my team, the year's got 52 weeks in it. If you let 1 week go by, you've got about 2% of your business that's at risk if you've got a business challenge that you're facing. We can't afford to do that because we can't miss our business by those kind of numbers. We were data rich, analytics poor, and data access challenged. And initially, before we had any kind of machine, we would go into an integrated business planning session, and there would be somebody that had their proprietary data for their department, somebody from another department that had their proprietary data. It really wasn't that different, but it was different enough that we would spend most of the meeting just arguing about whose data was right and not about what the insights were. Not very productive at all. So enter '09 and having that engine to be able to run on, and not something that took a long, long time for us to be able to prop up. As Sanjeev mentioned, I think within 8 weeks we had a working prototype, and that was used fairly quickly. But what that did is we realized that we now had a tool that could house our data, that could access our data, that could help us cleanse our data, make us smarter. And within a very short amount of time, we were able to analyze the data, get the insights on a just regular basis, and that improved our decision making immediately. In fact, it changed the overall conversation within our company. Suddenly, instead of arguing about what data was right, we were able to spend our time working cross-functionally with one single source of the truth. If you haven't had a system for 30 years of your career and suddenly you have a system, that's really hard to digest. But by putting that data out there and being able to help these guys with their jobs and the greater expectations of our customers, and having our sales team be able to meet those higher expectations of our customers, that changes everything dramatically. This wasn't something that was an IT initiative that was going to take a long time to be able to put together. We're responsible for the KPIs. We're accountable for those things. And so for us to be able to go with something that we could do quickly with that iterative process was very meaningful.
And so what we wanted to do was have a very connected supply chain where we all have visibility to the information, and we start making decisions together about how best to move that product. And so as I stratify my supply chain and I have these unique capabilities, I need to be able to do that in an integrated planning fashion. And I also, I talked before about I've got a lot of replenishable products day to day, and then I have these massive events that come through. If you can imagine Christmas, and then Valentine's Day, and Easter, and Halloween, and at those times my supply chain needs to expand exponentially to be able to work through those volumes in tight time horizons. And so really being able to get the organisation, first of all, to come around the table with visibility, then with visibility layering on capacity management, and then from there being able to model out what are the benefits, what is the cost, what are the sales, and what are the inventory opportunities by us actually massaging that volume through.
About 2 years ago, I really had two main goals that I wanted to achieve. One is I wanted to move us from a regional set of networks to one global network, and I wanted to move my team from inventory management focus to supply chain management focus. We're taking feeds first at the demand and forecast side from our legacy systems. We're feeding them up into the O9 platform in the cloud. We've got these 4 functions that we're doing in the project today. There's demand and forecast management, inventory planning, so we can have one set of plan for every part parameters in the system. And we've got replenishment planning because we need to move material around in this global network to make sure we've got it available to that customer. Because some of our product groups are making the same types of products in multiple regions of the world using the same parts. We got one global source or 2 global sources, we need to have that product available. Then the last piece is really material availability. This is where we've got people out there chasing the supply base down to get the material based on what that forecast is. And in that particular area, we really were working all in these legacy systems. We didn't have a work queue-based environment. It really wasn't helping us manage workflow, manage process, have one consistent way of doing it. We're driving that type of consistency now in this global planning platform. Once we take all these signals, we'll then send them back into the legacy system so we can execute out to the supply base. But this will help us run one global network. How do we deliver value with this project? We're gonna lower our cost of inventory, so we're gonna have less inventory in the network. Why? Because we've got multiple buffer strategies around the world in these regional networks. We'll be able to roll that up and have one consistent safety stock and buffer strategy. We'll be able to see as our product group customers move product around the world to shut off a signal in one region and turn it on in another within the right response time so that we don't have product sitting in the other region that we thought the customer was going to produce, but they've actually shifted it from China to the US, and we've got all this inventory in China. We're going to reduce our cost to serve. We're going to have better capabilities around managing workflow and having analytics and reporting capabilities around that. And the third piece is we're going to reduce the scrap and obsolescence. What we did with O9 from a POC perspective is say, come in and we're going to give you a scenario, run through, show us what that looks like in your technology. They came in, they did that. We had the team sitting around the table and they went through about 3 what if questions. What if you could do this? What if you could do that? What if we could put this on the screen? And the O9 solutions team basically came back within an hour and had made all of those changes in the system. And I didn't need to sell my team anymore on the solution.